So this is our presentation on our capstone project, which we're calling the Jira Template Manager. It's a project we made for Capital Insurance Group. I'm Sebastian Ramos,
I'm Umberto Garcia.
and the main problem that we were tackling is the fact that Jira lacks the feature to save and reuse tickets. And the consequence of this is that the development team and probably a lot of other teams waste time manually creating tickets that are pretty much the exact same. They mentioned that they waste about 2 hours, like every 2 weeks, creating tickets of just that are exactly the exact same. This repetitive work just causes overhead and introduces consistency, and it just detracts time from more valuable things they could be doing.
Our solution to this was introducing automation and saving to improve consistency. Um, so the way this would work is a user is able to save templates from existing tickets as well as manage those tickets by editing them, deleting them, and creating new tickets from those templates.
So our original solution, we had a vision just as an app that integrates seamlessly into the existing Jira interface. We would use custom fields that update dynamically within Jira. However, we kind of ran into some issues specifically with the restrictions on Atlassian and the platform they have. They have a lot of restrictions on what you can do with the apps they make and just how you can create apps. Like an example of this was they have very specific libraries that they want us to use and libraries that we can't use that made it a lot more difficult to make this app. Another issue kind of ended up having with our original solution was we needed a little bit of familiarity with just how Jira works. Like we were when CIG mentioned that they really wanted the ability for the templates to save custom fields. We didn't know how to create custom fields, so we weren't able to test it. So we needed to figure that out, and that took a little bit of time.
To add to that, the configuration for setting this up was actually a lot more complex. Uh, One thing that our mentors stressed to us was ease of use and overall just user-friendly user experience. And unfortunately, with the original custom field approach, um, you need a deep understanding of um, Jira from an administrator perspective, which realistically speaking, a lot of people going into using this plugin or application aren't necessarily going to have. Another thing that became an issue was that the dynamic pre-filling from the custom field was just not possible. The the reason that is because the custom field itself renders in a separate context from the create issue screen. And this introduces um, an issue which both contexts don't have access to each other's lifecycle methods. Therefore, whatever changes, for instance, whatever template a user selected from the custom field was not registering via the create issue. And that made pre-filling impossible unless we refresh the screen, which our mentors stress that that's not very intuitive and it's not really what they had envisioned. Plus, it introduces this complexity where you have to refresh every single time you want to update the ticket itself, which just made for a really bad user experience. So we ended up ditching that idea pretty quickly.
Yeah, we made changes to the original plan. As Alberto mentioned, we realized custom fields had just very significant platform limitations. So we kind of shifted our strategy and we plan to just integrate more standard modules from the Forge UI kit framework instead. And we did this because it actually supports native rendering and it was a lot easier to use during development. But during this, we just made sure kept talking and collaborating with our mentors and sharing what we were working on, just to make sure it was still aligned with their vision and it was still friendly for the people they had in mind using it.
As we worked closely with our mentors, we came to the solution of adding separate tabs in the Jira spaces. And this still, so this eliminated the complexities that were introduced from the custom field. No longer did you need deep administrative knowledge of Jira to actually get this application going. Um, this allowed users to get up and running quickly. It integrates seamlessly to the user experience as this tab itself renders right below the create issue button. So it doesn't distract too much from the workflow as the team at Capital Insurance Group really stress. This application has to be accessible to anybody in their teams. And this was the approach that not only allowed us to streamline ticket creation, but it allowed us to streamline user onboarding as well.
Lessons learned. Some lessons I learned was just adaptability is critical. Had we not been able to adapt to like the as we were learning about the Jira and the Forge React frameworks, had we not been able to adapt to that, we probably wouldn't have been able to complete the project. Thankfully, we were able to do that. We were able to make sure everything there was handled. Um, Another major lesson I learned was user feedback matters. If we hadn't had our mentors throughout this, just showing us what works, what wouldn't work, what was good, what wasn't good, our app would have looked probably very different than how it looks now. And their feedback actually helped a lot in making sure the app was as easy to use as possible. And just one more lesson I learned was just problem solving requires a lot of flexibility. We had like I mentioned earlier, we had a really strong vision for this originally, and we weren't able to, it just ended up not being possible to complete that vision. But we were able to just be flexible with what we were able to work with, and we were able to get a pretty good minimum valuable product out.
To add on to the lessons learned, from my end, I I learned that starting over could actually be very beneficial. This is in the sense that um, our original approach just required so much overhead. And in that sense, it was way easier just to ditch that idea after we worked closely with our mentors, shift approach, and hit the ground running again. And in this situation, we also learned that experience prevents pitfalls. And what that means is that when we were starting over, we had all this knowledge on the platform itself, the restrictions, the red tape that we had with custom fields that we easily avoided making any of those same exact mistakes over, which really expedited production. And our our mentors were their feedback uh, made this for a very fun learning experience, and we iterated better solutions every single time.
Yeah, so we just want to end this off with just a thank you to our mentors, Aaron, Madison, Louis. They made this process great, and it was a great learning experience. So thank you.